Hi, my name is Steve Faulkner. This is Real Magic Review, and this week I'm going to be reviewing John Allen's The Silent Treatment Diamond Edition. Before we do that, the usual stuff, please like and subscribe, very, very important. Share it if you like it. The reason for this isn't just because I want loads of viewers and I've got a massive ego. That's probably part of it. But I'm wanting to spend more time doing this review channel. I'm getting sent a lot more now. I want to do more reviews. You're requesting a lot more. People are sending me stuff. So I would really love to actually spend a lot of my time doing it. It's very difficult to do that when I've got other stuff going on. And if at some point I can monetize it with things like the Card Magic course, that would be great. And speaking of that, please do go and have a look at cardmagiccourse.com. But let's get on with the review. Right. This is, now John Allen stuff I've always watched. Now, since he did this trick, Double Back, which was the first trick I got of his, I got Experience the Magic of John Allen, I think quite a few years ago now. His DVD Spectators Don't Exist, I think it's called. And since then, there's been this Destination box, the Paragon box, which is the clarity, the sort of clear box that he's got, and it's a clarity box, but that's someone else's, isn't it? The clear box that he's got, and Pain Game, of course, which was what he did, a version of Pain Game on Penn and Teller. And he's got, again, I've talked about this with people like Richard Sanders. He's got an eye for stuff that works, and he's got, and I really wanted to mention the Perfect Score, which is, you can get it for a tenner, I think. Don't quote me on that. But this great thing he's got that gives you a perfect Mercury card fold every time. And even if you do a perfect card fold for some tricks, you know you want it really solid. And what a great, I mean, just so handy. I use it all the time. So I just like it when people just make stuff that makes me go, yeah, that's good. And then there's no kind of BS around it, all right? It kind of does what it says. Some of his tricks are more advanced. The Paragon box is very knacky. I'm still working on it. I've been working on it quite a while ago, but very, very clever and really nicely done. So one of the things I missed, and again, I'd always talk about my magic wilderness years. I kind of went into a cave for a while, and what it seemed like. But I kind of missed the Pain Game thing. I think it was 2005, which was, there's footage on YouTube. I'll put a link below if I forget, do remind me, of him doing it at the 4F's convention, and it's card trick, and it's a photo card in the mouth, and he walks out silently, tells you on a pad of paper what he's going to do, and then there's someone chooses a card, just thinks of one or whatever, and he's got it in his mouth. Really, really good, really strong trick, and everybody loved it. Went down really well. And then in 2015, he'd done a digital edition. Don't quote me on these dates, which was an iPad one, which again really, really good and really customizable. And then in 2018, I think with a guy called Spidey, who Canadian mentalist, who came up with this idea of using something else, and he used a tarantula in his mouth, which is just, it makes me literally want to vomit. But anyway, so with the help of Spidey, I think coming up with the routining, John Allen's now released this, and this is the similar thing, but instead of a card in the mouth, it's not what I originally thought, which was when I got this through the post and I looked at this diamond and I thought, my God, have I've got to have that in my mouth? Is that the thing? Yeah, it'd be horrible, wouldn't it? So no, not that. That's not what happens. What happens is, and I'll talk you through it, you've got this book here, Silent Magic Trick, and you introduce this obviously in silence. The whole thing happens in silence, and needless to say, well, actually not if you haven't seen the routine. And you go through it and you start flipping through it. And it's one of those nice things where they start realizing they've got a reading. And now I will present this without saying a word. Think of a number between 1 and 25. It can be any number, etc., etc. You go through, they think of a number. You then introduce this. And you show that it has a list of items in it, different items. You can show them very openly. Let's say they say 15. You can flick through to 15, 13, 14. And then when you get to 14, you go to 15 and it says a diamond. And then you have this in your mouth and you pop that out, open it up, and there is a picture of a diamond. Yeah, and then the kicker is you get them to open the hand and the diamond comes out here. Okay, you don't obviously do it like that, but I'll go into that in a minute. So that's the effect. What you get is, and I think it's about 50 quid. So you get this book, list of items, you get the silent magic trick book, you get the diamond in a lovely little box like this. You get the picture, obviously. Very importantly, this is the sort of paper that doesn't get torn. I can't remember what it's called, but you know, the stuff that the kind of no-tear paper, so it's sort of waterproof and stuff. And you even get the little bag. Now, glad I watched the DVD. Don't do what I did. I kind of got everything out and just kind of nearly threw that away, and that's actually part of it. You get everything to get you going here, everything. You don't need to do make anything, it's all there, it's all sorted, and you get the holder. Now, I'm going to do a different video on this, a very short review of this. This is something you get with it, but it is also a standalone item that John's brought out, so I'll kind of mention that more in another. I'll just do a very short review of that in another video. But importantly, this pad is a Svenpad, Brett Barry Svenpad. If you know about Svenpads, they are very good. The sort of clue is in the title. I've done a review on Brett Barry's Game Night, which is very, very cool, uses the same process, but the great thing is it just looks like a normal thing and it's gimmicked, so basically you're always going to be on a winner there. So you get quite a lot of bang for your buck, and like I said before, I like the fact that it is all ready to go. Okay, so pros and cons. The pros is that it's a commercial trick. Now, I know all of John's stuff. I did a gig with John once, he probably don't remember, a long time ago, and I sort of watched him because I'd sort of read some of his stuff and watched him. And what I really liked was he was performing his own stuff. And that's really nice to see. I like to see, because it sounds obvious, but you see people that come out with stuff, they promote the hell out of it, they say it's part of my repertoire, and you see them, they never do it, so that's a good one for me. It's a really, I think, doable in the way that you don't have to practice the moves. Okay, obviously you have to practice them, you have to run through, you have to know what you're doing, but I got this and I watched the DVD, watched the download, and then picked everything up and tried it out like I always do with my daughter and my partner Joe, because they are both pretty much the biggest critics I can get. If something doesn't work, they say, that doesn't work, and you see that, I saw that, and it's kind of disheartening, but that's kind of what you want. Also, it plays big. Okay, and it does genuinely play big. If you think of it, you've got the list of items, you've got all this, there's quite a lot of comedy in there, there's quite a lot of, it's different and in a way that I'll talk about in a minute. But even though this is quite small, and I'm sure you could do it on a bigger one and maybe you try and get one made by Brett, or maybe John is going to do them in the future, I don't know, but you don't need it because somebody can read off of this. It's nice when a spectator has stuff to do, right? So you say, right, it's obviously going to read this out to the audience, and you can kind of give them looks to say that you want them to do that, and that's quite a nice routine. It's quite a lot of stage time and there's a lot of space. This is a silent trick, and there's a really powerful thing about silence that I've noticed in performers. I use myself a lot. If you're doing, say, a parlour show or something like that, and you're doing all your talking and you're sort of going for it, and then you have a break and you do there's a moment of silence. Even a moment of silence is quite powerful, but a whole silent magic trick, and I think this would probably be better without any kind of music or anything. It changes the rhythm, it changes the feel, and your audience will thank you for it, especially if you're like me and you do a lot of talking. Yeah, we realise, Steve. But it's nice to have those gaps, and a lot of the time, I realised when I was a street performer that most of my laughs weren't coming from the lines, they were coming from the line and then the look to the audience. And it's that look, and I think if you can find a way of practicing your physicality on stage when you've got the backup of the magic trick, so even if your physicality is a bit off, you've still got the magic trick, it's going to get a good reaction, it's a winner. So I'm kind of looking forward to using this. I like to use my face a lot in performing, and it's really good practice for that. So I think as a practice routine for other stuff, for physicality, for the way you use timing, looking at an audience, not rushing, because I think the tendency might be to rush through that because it is silent, but really taking your time. There's a lot to be said for that. The cons of this, I suppose it's not angly in the way that, there's a load here, right? But the load's so hidden because the trick's kind of finished, okay? And it's one of those nice things where you obviously the diamond's got to get in there somewhere, and all the time in the world. So theoretically there's an angle thing, but nobody's going to be looking. So that's fine. The other thing you could say is that the trick happens here, which is great for being on stage, and then the diamond thing happens kind of sort of down here. So, but I think, so you think you could adjust that, but you just have to make sure you play it up. I think you could actually do it without the diamond production. And on that, it does feel like a slightly different trick. You've done this thing, you've got the laugh, and then you produce a diamond. Now, the magician in me says that's too different from that. And does that work? Because of my experience as a performer, of course it does. It's irrelevant that that's not connected to that. You get a big diamond out. And when I showed it to my girlfriend Jo, I said, did it without the diamond? She said, oh, it's quite good. And I said, oh yeah, I haven't got the thing on to do it. But what happens at the end is the diamond comes out, and she kind of went, oh yeah, that'd be really good. So there's, you know, it's gonna work. And it's a mouth trick. And people are really split on this. Some people don't like it. You know, that thing, anything that comes out your mouth might come out a bit grubbly, mightn't it? So don't know what that means, but you get what I mean. So in certain situations, it's not good to do mouth tricks. You know, you probably wouldn't do it in certain times in dinner when you're all that. But you know, I do cut to mouth all the time on stage. Look at Jeff Hobson, he does it. It's Dave Williamson. It's a very good trick to do. It's very funny, and it gets a reaction. Even if it's a reaction, you can play on that. You know, that's kind of, you want something that isn't just, you know. So the fact it comes out your mouth is a bonus for me, but won't be for certain people in certain situations. I really like this. I think it's really good. Like I said, I'm going to talk about how the thing that allows the diamond to come into play on a separate video very quickly, because these are long, and believe me, I know. But there it is. It's John Allen's The Silent Treatment Diamond Edition. Pick it up. It'll last you forever, and it's a great routine. Thanks very much. As I said, please like and subscribe. Well done for making it this long. And go to cardmagiccourse.com. Subscribe to that, $9.99 a month, and it'll be a really good way of supporting this channel. But importantly, getting your magic better and becoming a card expert. So thank you very, very much. Cheers.